What's up, Nail Geeks? I'm back with Emily DeMolly's July 2021 releases. This is a 9-piece set consisting of return of fan favorites. Some of these have been slightly reformulated, but I will make sure to note what the differences are for those respective polishes. I'm so glad these are making a comeback as they are so beautiful, and if you didn't grab them the first go around, I'd highly recommend picking them up this time. So let's dive right into the swatches. First up is Animated Hearts. This is described as a clear base with silver holographic and orange to green shifting iridescent glitters and a subtle blue shimmer. So the difference between the original and this one is no difference between the actual glitters and the flakes used in this one. However, this one might have a touch thicker formula than the original, which I do absolutely agree with. This has quite a bit of a very viscous type feel on the brush strokes. It definitely built up really fast for me on the second coat, which is very similar to how the original applied, but I do agree this has a tendency to somewhat over build up if you go in too heavy on your coats. Now, because this is what I would consider a full coverage glitter polish, I would strongly suggest going in with a glitter smoothing top coat of some type underneath your glossy top coat to level everything out. And next is Major Themes. This one is a 2.0 version. The official description is an orange base with a gold foil type finish. So the difference between this one and the original is that the shimmer used in this one is a slightly larger particle size, which gives it a slightly brighter, more reflective type finish. And again, I do agree with that in that this is straight up a true foil type finish. It's got a very strong golden sort of lean with the shimmer action happening, and at angles, there is a touch of a shifty kind of component, but in my opinion, it's more going to be this golden sort of effect against that orange, almost tangerine-like base. This is another one that is perfect at 2 coats. It dries down quite metallic-like, so again, you're seeing a glossy top coat. And next is Opposite Order. This is another 2.0 version. This is described as a brown base with turquoise blue to purple foil shifting shimmer. And the difference between this one and the OG version is that the shimmer in this one is also slightly larger particle size, which also gives this one a slightly brighter and more reflective finish. And I do feel like this is just a touch more foil-like than the original. I do remember the original being just a touch smaller on the shimmer size, but I think it's just a little louder in terms of the shift. So in indoor lights, you'll see that nice aqua sort of foil effect, and at angles, this one easily shifts over to a very deep sort of violet appearance. Really nice, especially in shaded lighting. Now this also gives you that strong foil-like finish, so again, you are seeing a glossy top coat. And next is Pale Horse. This is another 2.0 version, described as a pinky purple to gold to green shifting multichrome with silver holographic micro glitters. This one is also slightly magnetic, but the effect is subtle. So because it's going to be subtle, I decided to show you guys what it looks like without being magnetized, as it's not necessarily intended to be worn like that. And the difference between this one and the original is that the multichrome pigment used is just a touch darker and leans just a touch more purple than pink. So I do once again remember the original Pale Horse. It was one of my favorites in that release. It's very shifty, and I do agree this one does have a touch more of a purple lean to it as opposed to that strong pinky sort of feel that we saw with the first version. Still absolutely beautiful, very sparkly on those little holographic flecks, and again, I'm going to suggest a glossy top coat. And next is Riot of Shadows. This is a dusty teal green base with a fine particle copper to gold to green aurora shimmer and silver holographic micro glitters. Now this one is basically the exact same as the original, so not quite a 2.0. If you miss the original, then you're obviously not going to miss out on anything grabbing this version. So I do agree. I think it's very similar to the original one, and I didn't see any differences in it either. And wonderful Crelly-like formula, easy to build up. This again was one of my favorites in that set for releases. And again, I'm super excited that these are making a comeback. So highly recommend picking these up. Now this one also dries down quite flat, so you're going to want to finish off with a glossy top coat here, and in shaded lighting you'll easily see that shimmer go from this nice orange to a limey sort of green. And next is Save Your Boredom. This is a pale purple base with pink to gold to green to blue shifting aurora shimmer. This is another one that is not a 2.0 in that it's identical to the previously released version. So if you are a fan of Emily DeMolly's foils, which I personally am, again, another one you're going to have to pick up. Very shifty, and depending on your lighting, it's going to take on different types of colors. So I do agree with the official description that that color roll between pink to gold and green and blue is definitely what you're going to see in person. So when I took my nails away from my swatching area, I just kind of wiggled them around a little bit. You can very much see there's a blue shift to it at certain angles. There's a touch of green, and I almost even saw like a deep copper in more extreme, brighter lighting as well. Now this dries down very metallic, so again, you're seeing a glossy top coat. And next is the Glaring. This is a dark blue jelly base with a subtle green overlay and silver holographic glitters. Now, the difference between this one and the previous one is that the formula will be a little bit different, as she did say that she used a different base for the glitters. So you're not going to have to fish for glitters. Now, I absolutely agree with that. I was a little worried because this one looked like it was going to be a real chunky glitter, just looking at it from the bottle. But as you can see on the application here, I had no issues, no need to go fishing or anything like that. And you'll get a really nice dense appearance of those glitters across your nails. It's got a touch of a heavy jelly-like feel on the brush strokes. So you're going to see a very strong pond effect between your layers. And for opacity, I honestly thought 2 coats was perfect on it. Now, because the glitters are of the heavier size, again, I'm going to strongly suggest going in with a glitter smoothing top coat underneath your glossy top coat, which is what you're seeing on my full hand shot here. It helps bring out that sparkly effect, and those glitters are very, very popping. And next is Turbulence. This is a 2.0 version. This is described as a dark blue jelly base with assorted glitters in blue, pink, gold, and silver. Now, the difference between this one and the original is that several of the glitters from the OG version, unfortunately, are no longer available, but they were replaced with glitters that are really comparable and very similar. So all the main elements are the same, but the colorants that she also used are going to be slightly different, but the formula overall should be very similar and you won't have to fish. Now, I do agree with that. I had no issues in terms of fishing, but the glitters used in this are very heavy. They're quite a bit on the chunky size. So you're going to want to do a bit of that top coat method on your second coat. Please note, I do recognize that my second coat here is looking a touch on the messy side in comparison to how I normally paint. It's just because the glitters are so heavy, and you'll want to just kind of gently place them out to get a nice even coverage. Honestly, I think if you do get any glitters going over your free edge, as you saw right there, I just bumped them back a little bit and I was good to go. Now, this is another one you are absolutely going to want to use a glitter smoothing top coat with, as again, this is very thirsty, but it's so worth it. And last but not least, we've got Water Balance 2.0. This is an aqua blue base with strong gold foil type shimmer. So the difference between this one and the original version is that the shimmer used in this, once again, has a larger particle size, which gives it that brighter, more reflective-like finish. So this one also has a touch more of a gold lean rather than the gold green of the original. Still absolutely beautiful. This is just absolutely stunning in person, very vibrant. If you have medium to deep skin tones, this is going to pop really well against you. In indoor lighting, it's going to have just a touch of shiftiness to it, but what you're mostly going to see is a very strong, sort of somewhat silvery to greenish sort of effect. And I think you can get a really good idea of that on my full hand shot here. So this is another true foil, and it dries down metallic like. So once again, I'd suggest a glossy top coat. Now, the new releases will launch July 2nd at 10 a.m. Australian time on the Australian site, or July 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern time on the US and international site. I will link both of those shops below for you guys, depending on where you're shopping. And I'll also link you guys to the Facebook fan group if you'd like to see additional swatches and all that good stuff. These are so very, very pretty, and I will be back later on today with the PPU Rewind video that some of you have been asking me about. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.